Okay, so now we are going to learn about the verb past form. So this means that we got new conjugations. So let's try it out. So the first thing I want to do is that I'm going to go into Spanish Dict and look for a word, for example, ser, which means to be. Then I'm going to click on the conjugation tab, and here we have the conjugations. For example, the present, the preterite, imperfect, conditional, and future. And the ones we are going to be using are the preterite and the imperfect. So the preterite is used to describe completed actions. And the example we get here says, Yo ayudé a mi vecino. I helped my neighbor. And so this is a completed action. And when it comes to the imperfect, it describes past habitual actions. For example, yo jugaba ajedrez con mi abuelo. I was playing chess with my grandpa. I used to play. Yo jugaba. I used to play. So, for example, here we have yo, and the first one is fui. I was. Yo fui. And the next one, tú fuiste. You were. And ella fue. She was. Nosotros fuimos. We were. So this one is more like I was, you were, she was, we were. This is the preterite form. When it comes to the imperfect form, we have yo era, which means I was being, or tú eras, you were being. So maybe this is not a good example. Let's try, for example, to play. And let's go to jugar. We have to click here and the conjugations. Jugar. For example, here we would say yo jugué, I played. Tú jugaste, you played. Él jugó, he or she played. And for the imperfect, we would say yo jugaba, I was playing. Tú jugabas, you were playing. Él, ella, usted jugaba. So I recommend that you play around with the conjugations. Just look into whatever word you want, whatever verb, and then just play with the preterite, see how everything changes, look at the examples, because you can start to see a pattern. Once you look at lots of examples, you would see that some of them are very similar, and you will understand the pattern. So most of this is kind of a pattern that you just memorize, and it becomes easier with time. So let's try our PowerPoint, our presentation. Let's see. Here we have the first word, which is estar, which means to be. And when it comes to the preterite, you can say yo estuve, I was. Tú estuviste, you were. Él estuvo, he was. So this is the preterite form. And we also have the imperfect. For example, estaba, I was being. Tú estabas, you were being. Tú estabas. So, él, ella, usted estaba. Nosotros, nosotras estábamos. Vosotros, vosotras estabais. Ellos, ellas, ustedes estaban. So, if we look at the preterite, we would say yo estuve, tú estuviste, él, ella, usted estuvo, nosotros, nosotras estuvimos, vosotros, vosotras estuvisteis, ellos, ellas, ustedes estuvieron. And once you look at lots of examples, you can start to see the pattern that lots of words, they end in a very similar way. For example, the preterite, lots of them will have the similar endings, and the imperfect, they will also have similar endings. So let's try another one. Here we have ser, which also means to be. but it's the other form of to be. We have estar, we also have ser. You would say yo fui, tú fuiste, él, ella, usted fue, nosotros fuimos, vosotros fuisteis, ellos, ellas, ustedes fueron. And we also have, for example, ir, which means to go. And we can try many examples. Tener, yo tuve, él tuvo, nosotros tuvimos. So my recommendation is to look at them and then just get used to them, practice them. And I'm gonna go into the examples, but first I think we can try some vocabulary. The first example we have is diccionario, the first vocabulary, diccionario, which means dictionary, diccionario. And then we have cuaderno, which means notebook, cuaderno, notebook. And then we have escritorio, which means the desk, escritorio, escritorio. Diccionario, dictionary, cuaderno, notebook, escritorio, desk. Okay, let's try a few more. We also have estampillas, which means stamps. Estampillas. And then we have carta, which means letter. Carta, letter. And we also have correo electrónico, which means email or electric mail. Correo electrónico, electric mail, basically email. Okay, so let's try the examples in the past. The first one from the conjugations we have is leer, which means to read. So you can look into the conjugations. It says yo leo, I read, tú lees, él lee, nosotros leemos, vosotros leéis, ustedes leen. So maybe you should just look into all the conjugations and start to see the pattern. So practice them. Okay, the first one we have is leo un diccionario. I read a dictionary. Leo un diccionario. You can of course also put yo. So you would say yo leo un diccionario. I read a dictionary. Or you can remove it. Leo un diccionario. Another example is leí. I read a dictionary. Leí un diccionario. Oh, so the first ones, my mistake, they are present tense. Yo leo, tú lees, él lee. So this is the present one. And in the past, we would say leí, yo leí, tú leíste, él leyó, and so on. Leímos, leístes, leyeron. So yo leo, I read. Yo leí, I read. Leí un diccionario. I read a dictionary. Leo, I read. Leí, I read. And the next one. El cuaderno está sobre el escritorio. This one, once again, it's present. The notebook is on the desk. El cuaderno está sobre el escritorio. The notebook is on the desk. Está. And when it comes to past, you can say el cuaderno estaba en el escritorio. The notebook was in the desk. El cuaderno estaba en el escritorio. Estaba, it was. And let's try another example. ¿Dónde están las estampillas? This is present. Where are the stamps? ¿Dónde están las estampillas? And you can, and the past form, if you were to say it past, you would say, ¿Dónde estaban las estampillas? Where were the stamps at? ¿Dónde estaban las estampillas? Where were the stamps? At. ¿Dónde estaban? Las estampillas. And another one. Abrí el correo a las 9 p.m. This is past. Abrí. I opened the mail at 9 p.m. So a lot of times the preterite conjugations will have an accent. So abrí, abrió. So lots of them will actually have accents at the end. So you will start to notice a pattern that lots of them have similar endings. And the next one. Te envié un correo electrónico. I sent you an email. Yo envié. I sent. So envié has an accent. Yo envié un correo electrónico. And this is quite good because you can tell which ones are past and which ones are present by the accent. So envié, I sent. And let's try another example. Las estampillas están sobre las cartas. The stamps are over the letters. This one is present. And when it comes to past, you can say, yo le escribí una carta a mi abuela. I wrote a letter to my grandma. Escribí. Yo escribí. I wrote. Yo escribo. I write. Yo escribí. I wrote. Okay, once again, it has an accent. And the other one. Mi hijo fue a jugar básquetbol en el parque. My son went to play basketball in the park. Mi hijo fue a jugar básquetbol en el parque. So fue means he went, from ir, to go. And another example. Mi hija jugó tenis en la escuela. My daughter played tennis at school. So jugó has an accent. Jugó, she played. So the first one the conjugation refers to go. Mi hijo fue, my son went. And the other one, the conjugation refers to played. Mi hija jugó, my daughter played. So that's the difference. Okay, so that's it for this one. And my recommendation is that you play around with the conjugations. So check out the conjugation website and just put on whatever words you want to understand and just look at the conjugations. Try multiple words and just start to memorize them. Just look at them, you will notice the pattern. So thanks for watching. So now it's your turn to practice Spanish. You can find the lessons Quizlet by going into the lecture resources folder. Thanks for watching.